I am very happy to participate to this meeting. I am really happy about it. Well, I'm happy because there is a really strong storm in Istanbul in the last 2 to 3 days, and a lot of actually flights have been cancelled. But luckily, we managed to arrive to this conference hall, and it is really great to be here with you. It's really nice to get together, in some certain times of the year, and people get together, exchange ideas, do networking. I believe that it means a lot, and it is really, really important for our sector. Before I arrive here, I just checked out the GDP figures. It was just really recently actually explained. The first 3 quarters of the year, the growth of the country seems 12%, 12.2. Even if there is a problem in the coming years, the end of the year growth percentage would be over 10% at least. The most problematic sector seems like the construction sector. Especially September figures just showed that there was a drop of the consumption of steel and iron in September. So in a construction sector, instead of investing and making a new investment, just maybe realization of what the sector already has and is selling the households. There is also cheap loan opportunities. So the stocks are being melted, I think, and probably next year, in the coming year, we can maybe expect maybe a revitalization. Manufacturing seems fine. In almost all subsectors, we see a positive situation, and this is the success of the manufacturing capacity of the country. However, it is supported by, I think, by Asia. And in steel industry, in terms of production, in the first 3 quarters of the year, we see a 15% of a positive look. And I think that this 15%, if we are to compare it to the world, in the world, the percentage is around 5%. So I would say that it is a better performance than the world figures. World steel sector figures, if you are to look at it, especially in China. In China, we see a general loosening. There is a drop of the tonnage. This is the tendency of China. And in the world, we see an increase, a tendency of actually increase. In the world crude steel production in the first half of the year, and comparing to the previous year, and that is supported also with the base point, and it is over 10%, and it now is 5%. And I believe that in the coming 2 months it will continue, and it will probably go down 4%. And I think that the performance of Turkey will be 3 times more than the performance of the world. When we are to look at all these figures, Turkey's steel production, 29 million tons. It is more than, it is 33 million of tons. There's like a slight change, and we are ranked as the 8th country in the world. So our share is 2.1. This is our share. 0.1 or 0.2 actually type of changes means a lot, because it would mean millions of tons. The most important thing here, this difference in between Turkey and Germany, it is now 200 millions of tons. We need to just cover this gap, and Turkey, as it was the case in 2020, it can even go actually beyond of Germany. In the world steel sector, with this performance, we see actually a loosening in general. So here you could see the capacity usage utilization in 2019 and 2020. It was around 75 to 77. So it wouldn't be probably over 75. In recent years in Turkey, because of the positive improvements, while Turkey is approaching actually to 75%, and it's just covering this gap with the rest of the world. Well, it was 80%, and we had it at around 65% or so. That's why in the last 2 years we have showed a performance, and well, we just have covered the difference. And if you may remember, in 2020, especially in Western countries, the steel production just dropped sharply. It was revised, of course, afterwards, but it did not change that much. And we showed 6% of growth. When we think of the pandemic, we covered the gap in 2020, and in 2021 we are taking another serious step. So it is 75% for Turkey. So probably in the coming 1 or 2 months, while we will just create an increase of 0.1, and we can exceed even the figures of the world. Here you would see the capacity utilization. So it was 65% last year and 75% this year. So when we are to look at the finished steel consumption, you could see the figures on the screen. And when we are to look at Turkey's finished steel consumption, it is 29.5 million. And for the first 10 months of this year, it shows around 28 million. So we believe that in the coming 2 months, 5.5 million of increase probably will happen, and it will reach to 33 million with the rise. So we expect actually to be over than that, but this is also good, not bad. So we have seen a decline, a serious decline on September. It was 20% of a decline, and that was unexpected, especially because of the shrinkage actually in the construction sector. While we had to just revise these figures. So in the coming months, we believe that the consumption will loosen. However, the consumption will never go down below 10%, and comparing to other countries, while there will be a serious increase of consumption. In terms of products, when we are to look at the consumption, we see the long products, it is 20, and for the flat, it is 20 million. So in the end of the year, probably it will be around 14 million tons for the flat products. And it is an important, actually, development for the flat, especially starting from next year. This figure in the coming 2 to 3 years, this actually figure will be recovered after the new investments, 8 million tons. of flat import that bothers us probably will decline. And our sector, in terms of external trade and the payment and the foreign trade gap, well, it will be all impacted by that. And here you see Turkey's finished steel consumption by products for the flat 14.9, and for the long products it is 12.7 million tons of consumption. It is for the first 10 months of the year. Well, it shows that flat products are recovering. This is what we see. This is an improvement. Probably in the coming 2 to 3 years, Turkey's structure will be similar to the structure of Western countries. Import and export share. Import and import share. Well, it is around 30%. It is 34%. Well, for the flat steel, it is 53%. While even European countries, they really are bothered when their level reached to 12%. They really object to it. They intervene into that, and in Turkey, it is conflict full, unfortunately. So in Turkey now, the flat steel import has reached to 53%. And what might be the root cause for that? I think that it shall be analyzed. Probably in the coming years, this will change. Despite of all these facts, our export ratio to import ratio, we see a development. So export rate well is 16.6 million, and an import rate is 12.9 million, and this is the comparison of the months of 2021. So these are important figures, I believe. So this is the coverage ratio of import to export, and we can see the narrowing of the sector, and it has pressure on the steel sector. One is, you may know, the USA, and as well the EU. Our import to this country, our export to these countries are a little bit challenging. Well, especially for flat products. Recently, I've just read in news. For the first time in America, the flat product, their prices just went down at around 1,100 Turkish lira. So, the USA, when we are talking about the global capacity, of course, Americans have their old habits, and they refer to China. And they say that China has state initiatives, and also they have excess capacity, and we have to act together. But this is actually an old situation. And even in one of these meetings, I told myself that, yes, you keep saying this. However, per ton, you are receiving around 1,000 Turkish lira. And if you just think the total tonnage, while each institution just receives 2-3 billions of actually sources, monetary source. They have even confessed that they have 7 million new capacity both in Europe and in America. They just actually say that they are against some certain things, and via some practices, they receive the sources, money sources, and they use their waste capacity and they create new capacity simultaneously, and they also keep actually shouting out. They say that it should not continue in that way. They are bothered by that. Yes, in 2017 China dominated the world markets, and in Turkey crude price was around $200, and even a pipe producer just has said that they had to buy, and we couldn't say anything. So that was the situation in China, but China led the markets within 2 years, and now the capacity of China. Well, it depends on decision. If China wants to go back to his previous and old habits, they can again come back and dominate the markets. So China is really sensitive. They are careful about your sensitivities. However, America just gives a lot of supply and still keep complaining. So, well, I would say that this is a total actually pushfulness, and I think it is just an assuredness both in the EU and as well in the USA. So here you would see Turkey's still trade to EU, while it is shaped according to the needs of the EU. And here you would see Turkey still export to USA. It was more than 2 million tons, and if you are to compare to this figure, it looks quite modest right now. But because of the high prices, even 25% of tax did not stop it, and there is a little improvement there. Turkey's total steel export and import ratio, coverage ratio. So here we can see all the details. In the coming 2 months, if the export continues in that way, we are expecting 1 or 2 points of actually augmentation. On what I have been saying, so it is in between 8 to 9 in terms of ranking. So this was major steel exporters. We are ranked as the 6th country. Not in a short while, but in a middle a while, we can actually maybe tackle Germany, but Korea, South Korea, is more problematic because South Korea has the policy of actually separating from China, and we have to also take it into account. And here you see world's major steel importance, and Turkey is ranked as the 6th country. It's really difficult to understand it. We will actually improve our situation on import side, I hope. 2020 has been a really problematic and a challenging year. But still, we managed to survive, and 2020 as well is a challenging year. On one side, you would remember container crisis. All countries just wanted to get the containers, and it is all now bulked in China, and there is a rise on the prices of actually a carriage and as well the containers. Well, even in some sectors, actually, the transport costs are equal to the cost of the product, and the Green Deal is implemented. And Muammer is going to talk about Green Deal very soon. When it is commissioned, actually, there will be actually a decrease on the usage of coal. However, there is a rise on the prices of natural gas. So electricity producing countries also have high prices. The EU, for example, it is prices around 400 euros, and in Turkey, the price just was jumped from 30 kurush to 130 kurush in a very short period. Even if you pay it, sometimes you come up with the situations that you cannot use the electricity, especially during the summer months. Um, while all the capacities were commissioned, however, them actually supply did not cover the need in the country. So when we are to look at this 38% of a share, and this year it has just dropped. So
Gerçek anlamda ihtiyaca cevap vermek için kullanılmaya başlayınca orada sıkıntı yaşandı ve yaz aylarında
So when we are to think of ceramic and steel production, this has created actually a negative impact on production. So these are all interrelated with each other. Why am I talking about it? The period was really challenging. So we are still in this problematic situation. There are some like works in Russia starting from 2022. The crude actually still export will be $100, and for Ukraine it is 200, or they will ban maybe totally. So the EU also is just restricting their usage. Probably they will just consecutively do it. Well, in the coming years, we would have the actually need of making an input diversity, and we need to take into account a Green Deal. And energy shall be produced according to the Green Deal, and it should be consumed according to the Green Deal, and we will bear the cost. So, which means that we are in a really tackling problematic period. However, I believe that we are all used to it as the producers and the manufacturers. So this is the case. In the economy in 1976, I worked in the Ministry of Commerce. That was also the case. 1 year was good, and it was bad for the other 2 years. In the first period of AKP government, also during the rule of ANAP in the first few years, everything went well. But then, the situations changed and economy's balance just actually is shaked. And now in SAT, when I talk to the manufacturers of construction materials, they say that we have to confess it has been a great year. So it is really important to understand what's going on, because some people say that the year was good, some others say that it was bad. But it wouldn't really prevent us, especially the companies who export, can have new balances. This is what is going to happen. And the conditions are temporary, while the steel sector for the coming 3 years, it will reach probably 50 million tons. And this is how the sector probably will grow. And I think that the best part is that this $40 million, while our production is now actually covered by the export. However, in the coming years, internal supply probably will be dominant, and the structure will be healthier, I believe. So in Turkey, we have the steel production, and the performance of the sector will be better. This is how I believe it to be. So both producers and the manufacturers and their representatives are here also. I wish them all success. Thank you very much. Thank you. We might receive a few questions. Thank you very much. By the way, we have participants that are connecting online. They could also ask their questions if they, well, the production will increase from 40 million to the 50 million tons. Capacity increase, new investments, probably these things will be the case. But could you please maybe elaborate on your expectations? And when we say the consumption, you said that it will internally increase. Well, it was 70% before we had such periods. Do you expect anything on that part? In the coming years, long products consumption will not be more than the flat products, which means that flat products will dominate the industry. However, long products production, when we think of Turkey's need of infrastructure, can be also dominant. In Western countries, it is 80 to 20, but in Turkey, it can be around 60 to 40. 10 million tons extra production has also some new capacities. We have new facilities and also the additional ones, and all of them will be commissioned very soon. And for the long products, Firmash has actually one or two new investments in terms of responding to all needs. Well, we very clearly can say that our sector produces all the products what Europe needs, and it is capable. Our country is capable and talented. So we never can say that there is not enough production. We should really cooperate with the manufacturers and the producers so that we can have a really sound actually cooperation, and we can not really be impacted by this vulnerability and volatility of the prices. Import, yes, has been the tendency, and the price was around 640. Well, they wanted to buy it from China, but then our manufacturers, just said that was offered the 640, and that price was not that good. But our Turkish manufacturers admitted anyways it was low, but it was they asked for further discounts, and so they signed that contract to 620, but up until it arrives from China to Turkey, the prices went down to 550, and they made the damage. So all these people, if they were to support a place, for example, a steel institution, and if this institution also supports all these firms, then everything would have been different. Turkey actually has lost on that calculation. That approach was really, really wrong. It shouldn't have been in that way. If we can really produce, manufacture something in Turkey, we should do it. We should produce it because we need it. It is for our advantage. It is for our advantage. We don't do it. We only just try to be just save the date. So
10 milyon tona kadar çıkacak. Bunun büyük bir kısmının yeni üretimlerle
We need
Türkiye'de
new
kalacağını düşünüyorum.
productions, and
İhracatı
hopefully
destekleyici bir durum olacağını
it
düşünüyorum.
can support export.
Bizim ihracatı
However,
yegane faktör olarak görmememiz
we
gerekiyor.
shouldn't only rely on export. In the world, there is protective approaches. So in internal market, we should be really supporting each other, and we should act together towards foreign markets. Well, thank you very much. Any question to Veysel, please? Microphone, please. We cannot hear without microphone. The EU and South Korea originate hot flat products. While there is an investigation of dumping, could you please share ideas on that?
Malumunuz her iki
As you may know,
sıfır vergiyle
both sources
ithalat yapılan kaynak
are the sources of import with zero tax.
biraz fiyatlarına da yansıtarak Türkiye'ye yoğunlaşma
They
eğilimi
reflect
içerisinde
it
bulunduklarını
to Turkey, and now they try to
bundan dolayı
approach to
da
Turkey.
çelik üreticilerinin bundan
That's why
rahatsızlık
steel
duyduklarını
producers
ve
are
yapılan
bothered
çalışmaların
by
da
that.
bu eğilimi
And
tespit ettiğini
anything that
düşünüyorum.
they do just detect this
Avrupa
need.
Birliği, Amerika Birleşik
The
Devletleri ile
EU
yapmış olduğu görüşmelerde kendisine
had
uygulanan
some meetings with the
rakamlar
USA.
73 milyon ton için
There was also a production prevention for the EU, and was eliminated after the EU's actually interview and a meeting with the USA. And by the way, the USA is now talking with Japan and England. So if the targets are sincere, well, there is no way that steel sector wouldn't be part of these deals in between the countries. So that's why all related authorities actually take a step, and they should really intervene onto that. We have informed the government already, and all these countries that are making explanations, well, they need to soften their actually protection towards Turkey, because it will be for the advantage of both parties. American society will be saved to pay $1,000 per ton. There, we have another online question. In the coming years, can we see any aggressive behaviors from China? Can we expect any aggressive behaviors from China? Can you can you read the other questions? Customs Union agreement. Well, when we think of the Green Deal, do you think that the customs union will be updated? And there is another question. The USA and the EU sanction agreement they have, what can be its final impact? The first thing, aggressive behaviors of China. Can we wait anything aggressive from China? Yes, that's true that there is a tendency towards import in China. However, China tried aggressiveness in the past, and just seen really big reactions. And I hope that China will act smarter this time. So selling prices with a really low prices is not a benefit, is not a good thing for China. And also they have declared that they will obey the Green Deal. So that's why I expect maybe an increase on the sales, but I do not expect anything aggressive, and I expect it to be limited. The EU and the USA, their agreement, their bilateral agreement, probably it will have a negative reflection in the first place. If $3.3 million dollars is sold, it will be against the competition rules. However, Turkey's export, well, the USA needs it, and also 3.3 million tons. If it is sold by the EU to America, then what would be the need of the EU? Who will cover the need of the EU? There can be a flexibility in that regard, both the EU and the USA. Well, their protection against Turkey probably will soften. So finally, I think that Turkey, by liberating the trade, can benefit of all this. Some people might think of it as a positive approach. Thank you very much, Veysel. I guess there is no other question. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for your valuable contribution. Thank you.